Welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Lapidus. Today is Thursday, June 12th, if you were just tuning in. We just finished going over some potential trades for one Kevin Durant. In this segment, we switch our attention over to the NFL. The big story right now, the Cincinnati Bengals and their handling of rookie contract with Shemar Stewart. Their first pick in this year's draft, 17th overall out of Texas A&M, the athletic freak from the combine, would really help out that defense. Instead, they're trying to be a little bit cheap here. Before we talk about that, though, remember, if you would like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to gsmcpodcast.net. Or if you're on YouTube, you can use that super chat feature. If you do either of those two things, a message should pop up on the bottom of the screen for you, me, and everybody else around the world to see. If you do have a burning question about sports, anything at all that you would like to talk about, go ahead and throw that in the comments. Throw it in the chat. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. I appreciate everybody so much for sticking around, talking some sports with me here on a beautiful Thursday, June 12th. But like I was saying, we're going to get into what's going on here with Shemar Stewart. This is one of the most interesting rookie contract sagas, maybe the most interesting rookie contract saga that I can ever remember. He is fighting for the right to not get screwed out of the rest of his money. He officially left minicamp today, no longer there. He was showing up. He wasn't practicing, but he was stretching out, learning the playbook and everything in the days prior. He came out and he said he's 100% right, which I agree with. I don't know about you, how you guys feel about that. I think he's 100% right about this situation. The clause that the Bengals are trying to sneak into this contract for the first time in history is saying that if he messes anything up, injuries, if he does anything off the field, they can void not just the remaining guarantees for the season, but for the rest of the rookie contract, which means if he tears his ACL in week 1 of his rookie year, he has nothing guaranteed for the rest of his contract. That is an insane clause that they're trying to put in, and yet it's the most Bengals thing that they could have possibly done. The way that they try and nickel and dime their players. This is a guy that they just said we believe will be a star by drafting him at the 17th overall spot in the NFL draft. They could have drafted anybody else, just about. They chose him, which honestly was a bit of a reach. I like Shemar Stewart. He was falling down draft boards a little bit because of his lack of production at Texas A&M, only 4.5 sacks. What do you make of this situation, Nolan? What's going on here? What is the solution for this? How do you see this playing out?
When I first heard about it, him wanting to, renegotiate his rookie contract, which is something you never really do, I was really surprised because I didn't know the full backstory at the time. I was like, this guy had 5 sacks last year, 4.5, 5 sacks last year, and he wants to renegotiate his rookie contract. Like, you're not that good of a player to be doing that, respectfully. And then I hear more and more about what's going on. Bengals trying to basically find a way to not pay him his money. And when you hear about that, you really just think, how scummy can the organization be? This team is known for being cheap, being scummy, and having a terrible defense. And I hope that, honestly, it's one thing I hope. I heard that if he manages to just opt out of it, he doesn't want to play, he can basically just not play at all and then get redrafted in 2026. And right now, that's what I would do. I would opt out. I would not want to play for the Bengals. They don't want to pay me, so why do I want to go play for them? I would honestly opt out, redraft, and hopefully next year who cares how the record is, what team I get drafted to, as long as I'm getting paid. Because honestly, he could probably get drafted in the 4th round and make more money than what he would make with his first round contract with the Bengals because the way they don't want to pay him. It's just honestly insane. This is a team that has spent so much money on 3 guys or 2 guys and franchise tagging T. Higgins, and they want to, focus on defense when they don't want to pay their defensive players. This is the reason I don't like the Bengals. I never have, because they've always been like this. I just don't like the Bengals. There's every sport, every professional organization is one team I despise. It's the Bengals for the NFL. I just don't like them. I like players. I liked AJ Green. I loved him. I love Jamar Chase. I just don't like the Bengals. And if I'm him, 100%, I'm sitting out, hopefully getting drafted next year within the second top 3 rounds, getting a better contract, getting a team that will willingly pay me the money that I deserve, even though he had a pretty, lackluster season, 4.5 sacks. He still had a great season, tackle-wise, a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. I mean, in the SEC, too, in the best college football conference in the SEC. Maybe about, Big Ten, who knows, you could switch that. But, I mean, it's the SEC. Nothing easy down there. 4.5 sacks down there. Plenty of tackles. Lots of pressure. Not sure why the Bengals don't want to pay him. It's beyond me. He should opt out. Hopefully get rejected in 2026 to a team that actually wants and deserves him.
Yeah, you brought up one of those options, and that is one of them. There's a couple different options for him. They're not great options, but yes, sitting out this season is one, and that's one of the more interesting ones where he could enter the 2026 NFL draft. If he has not signed his contract after week 10 of this NFL season, he, first of all, cannot play. He won't be able to enter any team, but he will be eligible for the 2026 NFL draft. I, for the life of me, cannot remember this ever happening. I doubt it's going to happen. The key part here is only 31 teams can draft him. The Cincinnati Bengals cannot draft Shemar Stewart if he is to forego signing this contract and re-enters into the 2026 NFL draft. He will have to stay in shape. It's a very interesting thing, and I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. I don't know what NFL teams are going to think of him for doing something like that. It's a whole nother point of view here. The other option is he can hold out. As long as he signs that contract before week 10, no worries. He can play. He's not going to be fined either because he's not technically a part of the team. They can't fine him because he has yet to sign his rookie contract, so he owes them nothing. That's probably what's going to happen. I bet it'll be figured out by week 1, but there's a couple of other more out there options. He could demand a trade. You can trade a player that has not been signed as long as it's more than 30 days from the beginning of the season. So if he is to be traded, it's going to have to be before September 4th or somewhere, maybe the 5th or something right around there. It's going to be, there's plenty of time for him to get traded here. I'm sure a number of teams would be interested in getting his services. The last option, probably the last one that he's going to do, is he could go to another football league. He could play for the Canadian Football League. He could play for the UFL. He could go overseas and play in a different football league. But the Bengals would still have his draft rights. He would have to be gone for basically 4 seasons before he could be a free agent again or re-enter into the draft. But he could go play professionally, which is a huge part. If you are Shemar Stewart, what are you doing here, Mehrob? What options do you have? What is your number one option here?
If Shemar Stewart cannot get a contract with the Bengals that is decently fair and makes sense, I think he should re-enter into the NFL draft. There are loopholes in this. The worst thing that he's going to have to deal with is staying in shape and be taking care of his body for an 11-month period, not touching a football field. But he can do it. You're a young guy. This is something. Take it like you're injured for a year. You're rehabbing in a way. You're taking care of your body. You're doing the right things to make sure you'll be ready to go for the next NFL draft. I'm right here with you. I think he's going to be under contract by week 1. One last thing I'm going to say is this is crazy that this is now. It's okay. This is crazy that this is now the second player for the Bengals that is now definitely a much smaller player, but second player that's not getting paid right or getting in this type of scrutiny. Trey Hendrickson still doesn't have a contract with the Bengals, and he's in the same spot. A guy that's been there, been around, an all-pro player that is not getting his money. This is a guy in Shemar Stewart that's definitely a different scale, but it's a similar thing. He's getting a cheap contract, getting cheap loopholes in his contract because the Bengals don't have money to give to their defense. We talked about this on the shows prior a couple days ago, but this is the state of the Bengals right now. It just is.
Yeah, no, you talk about the Bengals as a whole, when you zoom out of that organization. Shemar Stewart is having his moment in the sun here. He's come out, and in that press conference he gave, he basically said, I'm not trying to be the bad guy. I just don't want to be the guinea pig for this kind of contract. And it's completely understandable. This is a Bengals team that has, again, been just the cheapest organization that they possibly could be. It's not a great look. Trey Hendrickson, a guy who has 17 and a half sacks in back-to-back seasons, is gone. These are positions of absolute need. This is a necessity for the Bengals to get those two guys back in the building, or at a minimum, get some value for a guy like Trey Hendrickson. You're leaving him in limbo right now. You're not even talking to him or his representatives. You're not working towards a solution, whether that be a brand new contract, whether that be putting him on a brand new team. You're not making any headway at all, and it's only going to make it worse. You need to be proactive as opposed to reactive, and the Bengals just don't seem to understand that. They need to not try and nickel and dime their guys, and maybe then they'll be able to be just a little bit more successful, Nolan. What do you, again, you seem to have a vendetta here against the Bengals. It's just a mess over there in Cincinnati. How this dates back to previous generations. Carson Palmer wanted out because they were so cheap. This is not a new problem. How does this even get solved? Is there something the NFL can do to step in, or is this just going to be a problem forever in Cincinnati?
I think this will just be one of those problems that, it will be around the NFL forever. It just happens to be in Cincy. Other teams have had this problem before. This definitely isn't just a Cincinnati thing. There has been, other times teams have not been able to come to an agreement, but it's never got to this extent. It's never gone to, this public and for this big of a player. That the most important thing is it's this big of a player, and it happens to be in Cincinnati. This is one of those things that Cincinnati, they are a cheap franchise. They are a franchise that is known for wanting to scapegoat their way out of paying players. And until they change their ways, this is what it's going to be like. They're going to do their very best to make sure they can try to not pay their players and or just pay them as little as possible. I mean, it just sucks. It would just sucks, your dream. Your dream is to go into the NFL and to get drafted to a team that, is saying this guy, he's going to help us so much. Like, this kid is going to be the future for our defense. And they just proceed to go on and lie to your face and say, we don't want to pay you, basically. Like, how can you say that? You're really going to think about that the rest of your life. Like, I worked so hard for all this, and this team just doesn't even want me. Like, what do you even think about that? Like, this is why, like, the Bengals are crushing hopes and dreams over here. Like, I don't get it. Like, how could you just don't want to pay your player? I just never understood that. I don't know why they don't want to do it. It's going to be a thing in Cincy. It will forever be a thing in Cincinnati. It has been in the NFL for a while, but mostly it's just a mainstream in Cincinnati, which sucks. How it is.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a mess over there. We'll keep you updated on this story because it is still developing here, but we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we turn our attention over to the world of baseball. Aaron Judge is on pace to do something that hasn't been done since World War II was going on. We're going to talk about that and much more here on the GSMC Sports Podcast.